Hello and welcome back to the channel, the third week to be exact, and our third episode on Dibbly Dobblers. So today we're going to preview the men's 5-match test tour of India, as well as looking over the England Lions who are already there. They're currently doing a 3-test series, and then at the end we'll finish with our favourite segment, Brits Abroad. But to kick off first, Archie, tell us, how did we do in our predictions last week for the under-19s?
In terms of players, not too bad. I think we got one wrong. It's quite a big one, to be fair, given how well Farhan Ahmed bowled. But
I'll read off the starting lineup first.
I think we said Wiley ahead of Farhan, and Farhan played, and then obviously that affects the batting lineup.
We had Ben McKinney, Theo Wiley, Benkenstein, Hamza Sheikh, Noah Thane, Allison, Jack Carney, Denley, Kelly, Jack and Morgan. But it turned out that it was basically Wiley swapped for Farhan. Denley opened the batting, and Farhan would have been the equivalent of number 8. So we predicted 10 players correctly, which, to be fair, I'll take that. And in terms of batting order, the guys who did bat, we got our top 5 right, except we got Noah Thane and Benkenstein the wrong way around, because we thought
we said
we had
Denley would be 8. So
but obviously that's different because his replacement was swapped out.
Yeah, it's a weird thing though, isn't it? Like you either open the baton or you bat number 8.
Guess it works.
I'm pretty used to it, but yeah.
So what happened? So what actually happened was because Thane didn't bowl much, he ended up batting at 3 actually, and Benkenstein batted at 5, which makes sense because Benkenstein bowled more. But we'll get on to the actual game. So England played their first game on Saturday.
Yes.
So Saturday. They played their first game on Saturday morning against Scotland. England bowled first and cleaned them up for 174. Farhan Ahmed bowling his offies and Benkenstein bowling his leggies. They both got 3 each. And then England chased it comfortably with about 7 wickets in hand and still about half the innings remaining. So I'll read you some of the bowling figures. Seb Morgan, 8 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 42. Dom Kelly, 6.2 overs, 1 for 20. Farhan Ahmed, 10 overs, 2 maidens, 3 for 22. Eddie Jack went for 20 in his 8 overs, no wickets for him. Benkenstein, 10 overs, 3 for 41. And Jaden Denley, 7 overs, 1 for 24. So tell me, what do you think of Seb's bowling? It looked like he kept it quite tight, didn't he?
Yeah, fairly tight. It was a shit wicket, to be fair. I don't know if you saw it. Strangled down the leg side. I mean, I thought he bowled well. He looked very impressive for his age, particularly. Again, it is Scotland, so how much can we tell? Because the nature of that Scottish under-19s team was fairly average, to say it best. I thought Seb was the pick of the pace bowlers. I wasn't massively impressed by the pace bowlers as a whole. I thought the spinners bowled well. I probably pitched that probably slightly aided them slightly more. I thought both Benkenstein and Farhan bowled very well. Seb being the pick of the pace bowlers, but I wasn't, on the whole of the pace attack, I wasn't kind of blown away with enthusiasm for what the future of English cricket has to hold based off the performance. But at the same time, it's one performance. How much can you really judge off it?
I mean, it was not the biggest test. There will be harder tests to come. But tell me a bit more about Farhan Ahmed. Obviously, we didn't think he'd be in the side, but it turns out he did play and absolutely smashed out the water. He got 3 for 22 and bowled a couple of maidens. What did you make of his offies in the end?
I thought they were quite good, to be fair.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah, very tidy. I mean, they did miss 2 straight ones, to be fair, as you called them up. But I thought his control, I thought his ability to kind of spin, obviously being a spinner, I thought he bowled beautifully. I guess it's a void in the England kind of in the slot at the minute. We haven't really replaced Swan since he retired in 2013, was it? 2013. Obviously, in my opinion, being the best spinner we've had since Underwood. But yeah, I mean, I thought he bowled beautifully. I thought he was really good, especially for his age, being a 15-year-old doing that, and doing that on the world stage at the age of 15 is impressive.
It's a bit early to call him a Swan replacement at 15. A lot could happen.
No, I'm just saying.
Agreed.
Yes.
He was quite tight, despite the fact that they basically missed 3 straight ones. But I guess if you don't bowl straight, you can't get bowled to LBWs. But he wasn't the only spinner who done well. Luke Benkenstein, who we had batting at 3 because we thought he'd be a batter for them, turns out he's actually profiling as a genuine all-rounder. So he's bowling his leggies over the likes of Noah Thane and Charlie Allison, who I could be correct in saying neither of them bowled. But he's also batting. Yeah, Benkenstein's also batting at 5, so like above Charlie Allison, who unfortunately got a TFC. But did it surprise you how big of a role they gave him?
Yes and no. It was a surprise to me that he didn't bowl at all, really, for England, kind of in earlier kind of youth internationals. I thought that was a bit of a surprise to me. Obviously, giving his bowling ability, which he's had for Essex, I thought that was a bit of a shock. But that was what made me shocked, that he bowled as much as he did. But obviously he has bowled for Essex, so that kind of made me sort of show kind of he is an all-rounder. So to that extent, no. But to the extent where he hasn't bowled for England in a while, that kind of does make me kind of question the Cullen Sun's change of decision, especially as he bowled kind of, I think he, if I'm not mistaken, he bowled before Denley, didn't he?
Yeah, Denley did.
Which is what surprised me. Denley's bowled, so. Yeah, but Denley's bowled more in kind of the youth ODIs leading up to the World Cup. So that kind of the fact that
I guess he's opening, so it does.
Yeah. I don't know.
We'll move on to actually Denley now and the English batting. So obviously Theo Wiley was dropped for Farhan Ahmed, which meant that Denley would have to open the batting with the skipper Ben McKinney. So Denley got 40, McKinney smashed, he got 88. He's a tall bloke, it's a long ball, and he hit quite a few sixes. I think he must have hit 3 or 4. So clearly he showed that although it's only one first-class game, he has actual first-class experience, which I'm not sure any of those Scottish guys has anything close to that. Thane came in at 3, he got 22. And then Hamza Sheikh and Benkenstein both finished unbeaten at the end. We didn't really get much of a glimpse of Hamza Sheikh because there wasn't really much to chase, but I'm sure we'll see more of him in the future. But apart from that, England thoroughly won this game, basically smashed Scotland out the water. But can we really take too much from it because, you know, it was only Scotland, or are there still bright spots and stuff we can look at?
I mean, it is Scotland. At the end of the day, it is Scotland. I don't think there's too much we can infer from it. It's a game of cricket. Very early on in the tournament against one of the weaker oppositions who'd expect England to beat. I think it's a good sign it was in quite a dominant fashion, especially with the bat. I thought the fact that they kind of went out there and they just blitzed it off, especially McKinney. I thought that's a good sign. Thing is, right, they couldn't have done much more in terms of kind of the dominance of it. But at the same time,
I agree. They couldn't have done too much more. You'll give them credit for completing the job, but you can't exactly give them too much credit because that's kind of what was expected. But it seems like, despite obviously they've got a very young bowling attack with Morgan and Farhan Ahmed, but their batting seems to be the more experienced one. They've got quite a few of those guys have played list day cricket in first class, and they're all close to being quite a few of them are 19. But as we speak, there's going to be their next 2 games are going to be the big ones. They've got South Africa coming up soon, and then in a couple of days after that, West Indies. So for the West Indies, they're going to have to be wary of their batting in particular. Jordan Johnson, the lefty, he looked pretty good. And obviously, Joel Edward, who got the 130. Did you see it?
God.
He was.
Yeah.
And obviously,
was he 16, is he?
Yeah, he's 17. He's already played a couple of first class and that. He was pretty good. So England are going to have to watch out for him. But then after that, they've also got South Africa. And I'll tell you what, South Africa's...
I thought South Africa was next.
No, is it next? Yeah, I think South Africa's next. But they're going to have to watch out for... Have you seen South Africa's seamers, Quentin Mapaka and...
the first one took 5 for 34, didn't he?
Yeah, the left arm seamer.
And then they had that other big fucker, I forgot his name, but he was fucking jacked. Whacked 68 off 38 or whatever, 64 off 38. I was sat there.
Number 8. He was huge.
Bro was built like a tank. And he was and then when he got 50, the best bit about him was when he got 50, he went on the badge. I was like, fucking hell, lad.
Did you see Mapaka bowl?
That's quick, isn't he?
The left arm quick. Do you see him bowl? He was pretty quick. He basically just got his in-swinging Yorker in pinpoint at high pace. He's probably bowling like low 80s, which is pretty quick for anyone,
for his age,
especially at under 19 level. And he bowled with one bumper. So his first 2 wickets were quick in-swinging Yorkers. Third guy comes out, he's like, right, got to be wary of the full one. Bowls with a bumper, and the guy basically he actually did well to get his glove on it. Because if he was any slower, he wouldn't have even got his glove near it to be caught. It would have just hit him in the face. So England have got to watch out for him. But we'll move on to...
The only thing I was going to say on that is I think with South Africa's strength, they've been quite a strong all-round team, I think. But their strength probably is their bowling slightly.
Yeah. And West Indies is the batting, you'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say off that first game. Obviously, because the top order failed. The only thing I would say is against the kind of stronger bowling attack of South Africa, I think England probably maybe slightly match up slightly better than a stronger batting lineup, because I think that England's batting is actually quite strong. That top 5, top 6 is really very strong. I think it's just it's their bowling attack that's going to be the weaker element in this tournament. So I think in regards to that, I think they match up slightly better against South Africa. Agreed.
So I think we're going to move on now to some slightly older English cricketers. A lot has been made about England's preparation for the India tour, but we'll go on to that in a bit. Let's talk about the Englishmen who are actually in India right now. The England Lions are currently 1 test into a 3-match series versus India, but they actually initially played a tour game before that, where a Dan Mousley runnable 60 at number 7 couldn't prevent the Lions being bowled out for 233. And then in the second innings, India made a pretty sizable 462 for 8 declared, as Rajat Patidar, I think that's how you say it, made 111, alongside 50s from SK Barra and Dhruv Jurel, who got 96. Sorry, Safraz Khan got 96. Do you know what his average is now?
78?
Nah, he's kind of dipped off. He's really lost his form. He only averages 68 now in first-class cricket.
How could he be so shit?
I don't know. That's shocking.
Well, no,
but anyway,
every other bloke in India in first-class cricket averages 50.
Yeah, but averaging 68 is still 18 more. So,
yeah, fair point.
Yeah, so after that, obviously that game was drawn. But we'll move on to the first actual full unofficial test, as they call it. It was also drawn, but slightly better for the Englishmen, kind of. Yeah, so England batted first on a pretty flat track by the looks of it. They got 553 for 8 declared. But Hannon and Jennings both smashed tons. And then the Matthews, they tore through the India top order. Potts and Fisher got 4 each, and India A got cleaned up for 227. But do you know what the best part about that innings actually was?
No. What would you mean?
For India, at least, Rajat Patidar who got 100 in the first. So in the first game, he got 111, but in this game, he got 151 out of 227. That's basically like almost 70% of the runs.
That's what you did for William Burke.
Yeah. And then third innings, England were just like trying to get some quick runs. Jennings got another 50. James Root smacked it. And then India were left chasing 490 after England declared. But India actually got close to the target because SK Barrett got another 100. Sai Sudarshan got 97. And India A finished only 40 runs short of the target. So I'm not sure how much of it you've actually watched, but who impresses you there?
I didn't watch too much of it. I watched a little bit. I thought Jennings had a good game. I think he got 150 first innings, 60 second innings.
Yeah.
I was like, it was nice to see Rue get a few in India, foreign conditions. Obviously being one of the kind of the bright futures of English cricket. Jennings is one I would like in this test team at the minute. Not at home, but in India. I think he's such a good player of spin that kind of you can just pick him and choose him for when you need him. Obviously that's never going to happen. Obviously Josh Bohannon, someone I've spoken about before. Again, nice to him getting some runs. But the player of the match for me was Matthew Potts. What you failed to mention there, Huz, is he got 56 not out in the first innings.
Did he?
He got 56. He got 56 not out. And then
there were so many runs, I didn't see that.
Sorry. He got 44.
Okay.
It was Carson got 53 off 35 at number 11, which I thought was quite funny.
Not Briding.
No. Jack Carson.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
And then he obviously took 2 for 45 and 4 for 30. As a pace bowler in India, I thought that was pretty cool. To be fair,
Did you see it? Did you see the Matthew Fisher spell where he got 4 up top?
Yeah, I think I sent it to you.
It was quality. He literally went swing away.
Barring the one strangled down leg.
Apart from that, 3 of his dismissals were, I think, hitting the top of middle or the top of off. So it was like serious bowling. But I'll be honest with you, I doubt that either of the Matthews are going to make the squad. So I want you to tell me a bit more about Jennings in particular, because I think he might have a genuine case being one of England's better players of spin, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's always been good at spin. His first ever Test match was in India, got 100, then he got a duck. But he's got his setup. I know, yeah. I think he might have actually got a first bowler, but his setup's quite it's quite interesting, isn't it? He doesn't really trigger, just stands very still. But I think he's got very good sweeper of the ball, if I remember quite.
Yeah.
You shove him up the top with Ben Duckett. If they can get through the opening kind of spell of seamers, you've then got probably after Root the 2 best players of spin in the country, in my opinion. I think that's the top 2 I would go. They won't, because I think Zach Crawley's like Jesus, but that is the top 2 I go. I think he won't get an opportunity, but I think if one of them gets injured, he will get an opportunity. I think he'll be he's almost like the backup. He's the backup opener.
What I will say is,
it's hard to say in baseball that if one of them doesn't get injured, they're going to bloody shove Dan Lawrence up the top. But I can't. I think Jennings should be the backup opener. But if it was me being a selector, which obviously I'm not because I'm not good enough at cricket, that he'd be the one I go for.
Yeah. So we'll get on to Lawrence in a bit, but a bit more about Jennings. One of the reasons I think he's such a good player of spin is, have you ever seen him bat where his bat is like tucked in between his legs and he sits down really low? So I've seen him bat, and I honestly thought he was using a Harrow bat or a smaller bat. It turns out just a full-size bat. But his setup is really well suited for spin, considering how low he is. It just means he can get to the sweep better. Than he's probably one of the best sweepers in the side. And I do think it probably won't happen because Zach Crawley's the greatest cricketer ever. But I think if he has quite a few low scores, say we get to the 3rd game and he's literally got 4 straight ducks, which I don't know. I can't say it can't happen. But I mean, there is a chance. Yeah, but then again, Jennings could always sneak in if something happens, but who knows? But the big selection headache, straight out of, I think I just woke up this morning. I wasn't even planning to say it today, but Harry Brook has gone home for personal reasons, I think. And then Dan Lawrence has replaced him, obviously. First of all, how much harder will it be for England to get anything out this series, considering one of their most talented baseboardy cricketers, Brook, is in there? And secondly, how much you think Dan Lawrence will feature?
I don't think Dan Lawrence will feature at all. It makes a difference, but to an extent, I think it helps England. I know that sounds crazy because Harry Brook is one of the first names on the team sheet, but it makes selection easier. I think it goes.
Okay.
Doing at 5, Folkes keeps. I think I was worried that they're going to not pick Folkes as a keeper and end up keeping Bairstow.
I was as well.
Which in a spin-friendly country, or kind of one of probably the most friendly spin country in the world, in India, Bairstow's keeping has a lot of question marks, put it that way. And I think that would have possibly cost England a lot of runs, kind of even more so than in England. So I think the fact you're having the best keeper in the world, in my opinion, then going into that 11, kind of almost certainly, unless they do something stupid and play Lawrence. Obviously, I think Lawrence is a great cricketer, but you need Folkes in India. I think most England fans will agree with you. You need Folkes the majority of the time. If you're playing in India, you need him every time. So I think that helps England in a way. Would I have picked Bairstow ahead of Brook? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think Bairstow has the best record in India. He's done well in Sri Lanka. Actually, no, he hasn't. He scored 1 ton at 3. But my point is, I think it helps in that regard. Would I have wished it wasn't Brook? Yes. But I think it makes selection easier and it makes selection, in my eyes, more straightforward.
Pretty sound argument there. I agree. We saw him in England keeping in the Ashes, obviously, in a country where he's probably kept loads. But even though coming back from his injury, his glove work was interesting at the beginning, put it that way. So I'm not sure how we'll go in India. But he's not the only big omission or from either side. For different reasons, Mohammad Shami is injured, so he won't be featuring for India. Do you think that that's going to mean much for them, or not really, considering the raging turners that we're going to expect?
I mean, Shami's an incredible bowler. What average of a tick over 28, I think, in Test cricket, if I'm not mistaken. Incredible bowler, incredible cricketer. Does need a hair transplant, but that's a different matter. I think it won't make that much of a difference. The only question mark is India's bowling attack isn't actually, in terms of pace, isn't the strongest. It maybe gives England an edge in getting through the early first spell. I mean, obviously, you've still got Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Siraj, and if Siraj gets on a roll. But the third and fourth seamers in India, which they might have to pick now, are the ones who are kind of the ones with bigger question marks. But I think they'll just go. I think they'll go Bumrah, Siraj, Jadeja, Axar, Ashwin. I think England scoring more than 250 in more than 3 innings, and I think that's generous. So no. I think Shami would be the nail in the coffin, but I think the coffin's already been almost in the grave. Like it just means we're not fully dead yet. We're just like 75% dead.
You don't sound very optimistic, but just tell me
now.
Before we disappear off the A tour, just tell me one man who always seems to be like the perennial A tour, especially like the Bradman of A tours, Josh Bohannon. Every single time I see an A tour scorecard or an England Lions scorecard, he's always on it, but he's never actually played a full Test match, men's senior Test match for England. So, what do you think, he'll ever get a chance, or is he just going to stay as the GOAT of A tours?
The thing is, he's on it everywhere. I mean, he averaged 57, I believe, in first class cricket last year. I mean, the guy just scores runs for fun, mate. But very small guy as well, to be fair, which I quite like as a batter. I don't think they'll do it because it's a similar thing with Crawley. They won't drop Crawley. They won't drop Pope. Pope has had more success than Crawley, average of 35 in Test match cricket. I can't see a way for him to get in unless there's an injury and he takes the opportunity when they come. Would I like him to see him feature? Would I hope for him to feature? Obviously, being my breakthrough player of the year, yes, I would very much, but I can't see a way in unless there's injuries. I think England are very set in what they want as their top 6.
Yeah, I agree. I think. Yeah, what I was going to say is, I feel like England with the Bazball and stuff, I agree that I mean, I can't really disagree with how well they've backed Crawley and Pope, but I think at some point, cricket in general move into a direction of horses for courses, specifically where players like Pope, who I know he's all right against spin, but he's not the greatest player at spin. Neither is Crawley. Duckett is obviously great against spin, but I feel like at some point in the future we could have, I'm not sure with this England side in particular, but maybe other teams might have just gone Jennings, Duckett, and try to pick their best players for that condition instead of just their best players. I think what England have gone, yeah, these are the guys who whack it the best, who are the most talented players in England right now in terms of batting. So we'll just back them and hope it goes well, which, I mean, that's how they want to go about it. Fair enough. Yeah. But I'm not sure how much it could, go badly for them.
Yeah, I agree, to be fair. I think that's what they'll do. I agree with you completely. I think it should be that way. I would personally go that my top 3 would possibly be Bohannon at 3, obviously, Duckett and Jennings. You saw it in the Ashes a little bit. You saw they shoved Moeen at 3 almost just because he whacks it, or kind of he just fills a role, Whereas they haven't like Moeen's not the best number 3 in the country. Obviously, he doesn't even bat number 3 very often. So yeah, that I agree with. I think selection as a whole in this England squad is pretty poor. That's another matter. But I would love to see Bohannon involved. Sadly, I don't think he will be. Just because I think that again they have their set. We want this. We want this. And they don't like to differ away from it. They don't like to go away from it, and I don't think they will go away from it, which is a real shame. Maybe Bohannon also isn't a player who's naturally a kind of a basher of a cricket ball, even probably as lower strike rate than Pope, I believe, in first class cricket. Not 100% sure on that, but I think that's also a factor. Jennings also isn't someone who scores runs at a quick rate.
I mean, he did get a run a ball. His 150 was almost a run a ball in the.
Yeah, but I mean, as a whole across his career, especially when he's played for England, he's.
But that was a different England era, so
it's a different England era, but it's the style of player he is, if you know what I mean. You wouldn't want him to differ away from how he scored runs in first class cricket. Yeah, I agree though. I agree. Sadly, I would like to see Bohannon, and I would like to see Jennings involved. Bohannon across maybe different countries, and then Jennings when we're playing in spin-friendly conditions, because you've got to pick the best team in the environment to win games of cricket. England don't do that because of the consistent backing of players. That's my opinion.
To be fair, considering the time or how far we've come from the Joe Root era of losing 11 on the trot to winning 11 or 16 outs and something crazy like that to winning 11 on the trot, the England, Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes and like Robert Key, I think they've bought a bit of time, so you can probably trust them, although we don't agree with it and many people don't. You can probably just trust them that they've got thinking about what they're doing, and you hope they get it right. But they're not the only ones who are set in selection by the looks of it, because for India there's a couple of big batters who've scored runs. We obviously spoke about Sarfaraz Khan and Rajat Patidar. Do you think either of them could make a side in that strong England or Indian batting lineup, or is it just too many good players there?
The thing with it is I've always thought Sarfaraz should play. But it's like, if he hasn't had an opportunity yet, why would they give him one now? The guy has consistently scored runs for a long period of time. I think that similar with Patidar, to be fair. I'm sorry for the awful pronunciation there. But I think they're both very talented cricketers, both players who would do well in Test match cricket, particularly in Asia. But there's question marks why they haven't been given an opportunity yet. I can't see why they get one now, especially in India against England. I don't see how many of their openers and kind of the players are going to fail. I think all of them will really have quite a promising year. I think Rohit will have a good series. Sorry, so will Jaiswal. The whole top 6 or whatever. I think the only way you could see Sarfaraz getting into that team is as a keeper without Rishabh Pant. But
I don't think he keeps. I'm not sure if he does.
He can keep. I don't think he does, but he can keep.
But there definitely won't be. Do you know why?
He won't get in over KL Rahul. So
no, but KL Rahul isn't the only keeper in the squad. So I'll tell you what India have done for the squad. They've called up Dhruv Jurel and Avesh Khan. So basically, Avesh Khan is a seam bowler, but Dhruv Jurel is a keeper. So now they have 3 keepers in the squad. So KL Rahul, who I assume is going to bat now that there's 2 other keepers added, they're not going to make KL Rahul bat, because it's like you focus. They're going to tell him focus on your batting. SK Barrett, I think, is going to be the starting keeper by the looks of it, and then Dhruv Jurel is going to be the backup keeper. Now they've got 3 of them, so I really don't see how Sarfaraz Khan or Rajat Patidar fit into it. And it's always like this with India, because with India there's so many good batters that you fall off for, you go out of form and you basically get never seen again. Like that Karan Nair guy who scored a 100 and disappeared. There's Prithvi Shaw who was meant to be the next Sachin or whatever, and now he's at Northants. There's so many cases like that, but I just don't see how they get in the side. But then again, there are 5 Test matches. Things move very quickly, so something could change. But let's move on to actually the first Test. India. I'll tell you something. Well, the biggest thing that's been spoken about lately, India have the highest percentage of average or below pitch ratings for men's tests since July 2019. So with Mohammad Shami out and a load of spinners, what do you think we can expect from the Hyderabad pitch on on Wednesday? Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, there's been no Test cricket there since 2018, which is 6 years.
Hyderabad, you said?
Yeah, I think so. I was checking out the last time they played Test cricket there. I could be wrong on this one, but the last test that Google told me was in 2018 v the Windies, let's say, which wasn't too bad. It was 687, 388, 159, and 250. Bangladesh. Oh, sorry. That was the test match before 2017. It was 311, 367, 127, 75 not out. A big Prithvi Shaw, as you were just on about, got a not out at the end, which isn't too bad. Obviously, that is before the World Test Championship has begun. I think not gonna say anything here, but maybe the two have coincided with bad pitches. Get more to come from Test match cricket. I think it's going to be a shit rank Turner.
Fair enough. Bunsen burner.
I think it's going to be spinning. England are going to be all out by tea on the first day, but they would have scored 200. They would have scored 225 just because they've all decided, fuck it, we're all going to get out. Let's try hit some bombs while we're at it. I think they'll have a bit of success.
Tell you what.
But honestly, I don't know if that's a bad. I don't think it's a bad way to go.
Let me tell you this. So I'll give you some hope because you sound desperately sad. But put it this way: if India make rank Turners, they basically negate the fact that their spinners are better because it'll bring England spinners into play. Yeah. And if England just baseball their way to a 260, that could be an actually very good total. If they just like scratch around, someone gets a quick 570. On the other hand, if India make a flat track, their batters will score like tons of runs, but so will England's baseball, and England will just be able to score faster, keeping them in the game.
I agree.
I don't really think India can make rank horrible Turners because it takes out the advantage that their spinners have. I don't think they should because it will bring England spinners into play. And what I'm trying to say is it will hide the fact that their spinners are better. But if they make really flat tracks, England will just score quicker and keep themselves in the game. So I think for India, if they just make, I don't know what a normal pitch is anymore, but what I'm trying to say is if they just make a normal pitch that is good to bat at the beginning and then turns at the end of the game, they can just show the quality their batters have, as well as showing how much better their spinners are going to be on helpful wickets instead of wickets that are basically a lottery. So, I mean, as we've seen with India, even at the World Cup final and other pitches like that, they can like when they do try to make a pitch so far towards their favour, they can mess it up a bit, which will bring in England to play. So I'm really interested to see what they do there.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a series I watch from start to finish at 4 a.m. till whenever it finishes. I get completely what you're saying. I think they will go for a kind of a doctored pitch in a way. I don't think it'll necessarily be doctored, but it'll be a spin friendly pitch, shall we say. I think the quality of Indian spinners are so much superior than English spinners that even on a ranked Turner, they're going to extract more from it, like you saw in the Ahmedabad test, when Jack Leach, who was a genuine spinner, couldn't extract nearly half as much as what Ravichandra Ashwin was able to.
Because that's Ravichandra Ashwin.
Yeah, that's my point. He's playing, isn't he? He'll be playing. Jadeja's of a similar caliber, and Axar Patel in India is also someone who's a ridiculous bowler. So the level of spin, even on a doctored pitch, will far outmatch the England kind of level, which means I think no matter what the pitch, as long as it's not a flat, hard deck where England can just try and whack the shit out of it, like you saw first Test match. What was it? When did we last talk? 2021 or 2?
Chennai.
Chennai. Yeah, obviously, but I'm not sure the year when England actually won a Test match.
2020, I think it was.
You saw
21.
I think, yeah. Obviously, Root was gun in that innings, so was I think Sibley actually had quite a good knock. But then you see the next morning, Stokes just basballed it. Basball pre-basball. But my point there is I think if they do go hard, that plays into England's advantage more than having a doctored pitch or kind of a spin-friendly pitch. Because if you have a spin-friendly pitch, the quality of their spinners will be still, whilst brings England spinners into play, it'll still be kind of very clear how much better Indian spinners are compared to Jack Leach, Joe Root, Rahan Ahmed, and Bashir isn't going to play.
Tell me a little bit. Obviously, we know whatever way the pitch is made, it will be interesting either way. That's one thing England guarantee us. It won't be boring. But talking about the golfing quality of spinners, who actually will be England spinners? Because naturally you think first name on the sheet is Jack Leach being the senior spinner. And then will they have Rehan Ahmed as a wrist spinner in India where I'm not sure, because generally finger spinners are preferred there. And obviously Akshar Patel, the way he bowls, Tom Hartley hasn't exactly said that, but he's basically likened himself to England's version of Akshar Patel, where he bowls. He basically said that he's been to India before. If he just fires it into the wicket, that's all he has to do. So I'm not sure if he'll actually play or they'll just go Leach and Rahan. But then again, do you think England could just go wildcard and go, yeah, mate, Shoaib Bashir, you've gone this fast, just keep going further up and make a debut at some point? Because I do think he'll play at some point during the 5-match series, because it's 5 games. But for the first test, who do you think England will start with as their spinners?
I think they'll go Leach and Rahan. Rahan Ahmed, obviously. I think that's what everyone thinks. I would have personally gone a man who wasn't in the squad and gone for Dawson.
That's a different story.
That's a different matter. I think Hartley's obviously the brother of Alex Hartley, both bowl off spin. I like him as a bowler, but he isn't the way Baz will play. I think they're gonna keep backing Rahan. They think he's the future. They're gonna play him. Leach is obviously then Stokes' best friend in a way, in terms of his backing. So I think they're going to continue backing the boys they have before. The thing with you said about Bashir is I think he possibly will play, because again, like leading off Rahan, you saw a very similar thing when he played, was picked in Pakistan. They backed him. They thought, we have a talent here. We want to harbour it. We're going to give him the opportunity. Bashir is of a very similar nature, and I think in that regard they probably will pick him towards the back end, especially if they've got nothing to lose. They've got nothing to lose. They're gonna have a go. They're gonna have chances. They're gonna work out how they can do better in the future. I think that's gonna be. We're gonna see that. But I do think. I think this will be the first Bazball series loss, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Hartley will play not the first test, but maybe second or third. Given kind of Ahmed's kind of inability to and his usefulness on kind of these Indian decks, where obviously, like you said, off spinners are preferred. And then I think Bashir will be played towards the back end after England have lost the series, and they want to back him, they want to harbour him as the future. I think, as you've alluded to on previous podcasts, they've clearly isolated as the 2 spinners they want to harbour for the future. Kind of look to develop are Ahmed, Bashir. And I think they're going to try and do that. I think those are the 2 spinners they want to be the future of English spinners. Maybe we'll see the 2 Ahmed brothers bowling together at some stage. Bit of a big shout. Who knows? But I think those are the 2 spinners they're going to try and back, and those are the 2 spinners they're going to try and develop. So I think we'll see both of them play. I don't think Bashir will play early on in the series, but it's Bazball. Who fucking knows, mate? So I think they're going to they're going to go for the 2 obvious spinners they would like in in Rahan Ahmed and Jack Leach, but I think we will see all spinners feature. And the man we have for us is Joe Root. 5 for 8 last time. Yeah, Ahmedabad. I think he's going to be the 3rd spinner in every team. Okay. You don't drop. I think he's underrated as a spinner.
Not really. I think underrated against left-handers. Against left-handers, I think he's very useful, but against right-handers, I don't think that he.
And you don't pick many left-handers either.
That's the thing. So he'll be there.
Statistically, I mean, Shreyas will play, won't he? I think he's lefty, right? Am I right?
Shreyas, no, he's right-handed.
He's right. Who's the Pat? Do they have any lefties?
I don't think that the only lefty in there is Jaiswal if he plays in the top order, and then the next lefties after that is Jadeja and Akshar in the middle order.
Yeah, no, he's going to be useless then.
Yeah, I mean, who knows again? But
again, it depends if they're playing on a Bunsen burner. If they're playing on a Bunsen burner. Jimmy Anderson might start bowling some left arm off. You see how they come out.
Or Ben Stokes.
Ollie Robinson's done it in the past. Wouldn't put it past him to do it again.
Ben Stokes has been practicing his offies.
Can he? He can't bowl, can he?
Well, actually, while we're on Stokes, tell me. No, they've kept it really quiet. But is Stokes actually fit to play this first game?
I think.
I mean, he'll play anyways. He'll play anyways, regardless of his fitness. But I don't think he's fully fit, or even close to being fully fit.
I don't think he's fully
fit. He'll probably play at like 50%.
It's 5 days, right? I've seen the bloke doing first cycle back last week on Instagram. I don't think he's fit. I don't think he's fit at all. Unless they're like unless they're doing like the best, like, we're going to tell you this and we've completely done something else, and he's been running for like a month, and he's just trying to make India like think he's not ready, so he comes out bowling 95 mph, sorry, not clicks, and starts like abusing their top order. But I don't think he's fit. I mean, the World Cup was how long ago? Like a couple of months.
He literally had an operation.
He had knee surgery, for fuck's sake.
I'll tell you what, though. He called Mo and Ali back. He won't be doing that again. So maybe he's going to be the new off spinner. But one thing I will say is, obviously, there's 15 men in the squad. Yeah, something like that. And then there's 5 tests. I basically think everyone will feature at some point in one shape or another. Everyone will play. But I think we'll stop there and we'll let the actual cricket get underway on Wednesday. But we'll move on now to the final segment, Brits Abroad, which is a personal favourite of mine. But one thing I won't be doing today is listing them all, because honestly, I've lost count of how many Englishmen are abroad. Because it basically seems like at this point, if you're English and you own a cricket bat, you're somewhere abroad. Unless you're you, me, we're here.
Yeah, we're not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, but I'll tell you what's happening.
Here we go.
No, we'll get on to that in 1 second. I'll tell you where the Englishmen are in like a group or a herd. All the ones in the Big Bash, your Evanses and Overtons and God knows Billings and whatever, they've all just flown to Dubai because like they signed those contracts earlier, and they're paying 3 times as much. Will Smeed is there. God knows who else. Guess what? There's one Englishman in the Bangladesh Premier League. Can you guess who it is?
No, give me a clue. What county?
Well, wait. I think there's more than one, but one stands out. He's played for England, but only 1 game. So recently, in 2023, Derbyshire. That gives it away.
No, it doesn't actually.
Yeah, it does. A man from, I'm not sure he's still out Derbyshire, but he was when he made his debut.
Who?
Scrimshaw is in the Bangladesh Premier League.
Oh God, not Scrimshaw. What? How many no balls has he bowled over there? Bloody hell!
I don't know. I haven't been bothered to watch. And obviously, all the other Englishmen are in.
I think he still is at Derbyshire.
Oh yeah, might be.
I was thinking Henry Brooks, but he's just gone to Middlesex.
Yeah, we'll go on to Middlesex in a second. But all the other Englishmen are in South Africa, either playing under 19s or playing the SAT 20, or just on holiday, because why would he want to be in South Africa at this time of year? But the English bloke that did well in South Africa, Will Jacks, 40 ball ton, but that was appalling because he threw away the double 100 off. Literally got out the next ball. I don't know why he did that, but aside from throwing away a double ton, seriously, how good is Will Jacks? Do you think he'll be like the Roy and Hales alongside Salt for the future?
He didn't have the greatest Windies tour.
Yeah, but Phil Salt did. So.
He's so good. But that's my point. That's my point. How is he going to fit in? Kind of if it's Salt Butler, does he fit in at 3? He also took 2 for in that game, if I'm not mistaken. Ridiculous cricketer. I think he's not quite Harry Brook level, but he's a talent, you know. He's a spinner. He's a guy I kind of wish got picked for India. He bowls a bit, and if it was me now, I'd be tempted to shove him in at 5, because It's him or Bairstow for me at 5. I think he's proper. He's proper good. Plays all 3 formats for Surrey. Could probably will play all 4 formats for England. I mean, obviously his Test record with the bat isn't fantastic, but I think he's a serious talent. He's a player I'd have in the plans for every single format. I think he's going to be the future T20 opener, the future ODI kind of opener or bat of 4, and I think he will be possibly a future middle order Test batsman. I think next World Cup, I think we could very well see, unless Bairstow's still playing, I think we'll see Salt and Jacks being the 2 dead-ons opening batsmen. Salt being almost, he could keep, but I don't think he'll keep it. If Butler's still there, he won't keep. But those two are proper. Salt's been all right as well. So is Butler. I saw Butler and Roy got a few today. If I'm not sure if you saw that. Butler got.
No, not yet.
I think Butler got 60. One of them got 60. One of them got 40 or 50. Quite a low scoring deck actually. But yeah, both those two done all right. All Englishmen have done all right actually. Topley's bowled well. I don't know if you saw that. That might have been your next talking point. No, he's got a lot of wickets though, hasn't he?
But put it this way, Archie. There's so many Englishmen overseas. Someone's definitely doing well and someone's definitely doing poorly. But tell me a little bit about Englishmen who should be in England next summer. We'll start off in Somerset. I think this news came out quite a while ago, but I just never got around to it, maybe a week and a bit. But Tom Abel gave up the captaincy at Somerset, and Lewis Gregory got announced as a new captain on January. I think it might have been like the first week of Jan or something. So how do you think Tom Abel did being, I think he was the youngest Somerset captain ever, and Somerset have had a really good few years under his leadership. I'm not sure why he gave it up, but yeah, what would you make of that?
Somerset, he's done well to be fair. That's 7 years, I believe. Good job to be fair. Had them challenging for titles a few times. Obviously, they did fall short.
They won the
and then I was very impressed that he kept them up last year. I mean, how much of that we put down to James Rue? You can say as much as you like, but obviously Somerset's batting is very not the greatest. If we're being perfectly honest, you got obviously Tom Lamond. It's all right. You got Lammonby who opens the batting with an average of 28. It's
got a ton of Lords. Oh, was it?
Yeah, but
Colin Cadmore.
Middlesex also aren't. Colin Cadmore's all right. Abel's okay, but it's a lot of kind of middling players.
Yeah, but that's what the championship is, right?
Yeah, but it's not like it's probably a weakening. In my opinion, it's probably a weakening batter lineup than Middlesex who went down.
Really?
So I think the fact, yeah, definitely do it like for like. I think I'd probably go Robson up the top. Okay, this is the conversation for a different time, but I think that the nature of their batting isn't the strongest. So for them to be able to stay up, I thought kind of last year was good, especially with their batting. That was the main factor. Yeah, I thought he's done a good job. I think Somerset had a good few years under him. It's slightly strange that he's given it up, to be fair. I thought Gregory's obviously the next choice in line. Had a great player, had a good year last year in the champ. Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much the franchise cricket is playing on his freedom as skipper. Whether he's going to go and play more kind of franchise cricket, especially early in the season, has that played him? Yeah, especially as someone who probably isn't going to get an opportunity for England now.
Agreed.
So he's kind of gone. I think a lot of time he wanted to get England opportunities, never got an England opportunity. So now for him, as we alluded to on a previous podcast, I think his economic incentive will be a lot higher than it previously was. So
how old is he now?
That's gonna. I think he's touching on 30.
He's still only late 20s, which makes sense at his age. That he's tried his best for England. He's not really pushing for it anymore. If it comes, it comes. But he's really gone. You know what? It's time to, which is fair enough for him. He's done really well for Somerset. He's played some line stuff, and he deserves the right to decide that, you know what, I'm not going to skipper them anymore. I want to be a bit more flexible with where I play my cricket. And where I earn my money. But we'll finish lastly. One more bit of county news. Obviously, Middlesex are very poor, put it that way. So they've decided that they're not going to sign an overseas next year, and instead they've got Henry Brooks from Derbyshire. And do they still have Lewis Deploy?
Yeah, of course. They just signed him.
When?
Last year they signed him for next season.
Okay, there you go. So they're gonna have Lewis Deploy next season.
Yeah,
and Henry Brooks. So is that going to be their overseas-ish kind of budget gone, or where do you stand on that with Middlesex's non-overseasing? That makes sense.
I don't mind it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Because the squad's good enough to get promoted.
Okay.
Because the overseas Middlesex did have when they got promoted is obviously Peter Milan, who's been shocking, to say the least.
It's weird. The season before, when they were in,
he was right, but he wasn't as good as Deploy was last year. I think it's good. The only question mark I have is De Geers good enough to be a frontline spinner? Obviously, he's someone who's gone from I know you're not a massive fan of his spin halves, but he's someone who's gone from being a opening batsman who can bowl to a number 8 who bowls as primary school as an off spinner.
I mean, he's done all right, to be fair to him, and he got into a line.
No, he did well and back end of last year. I'm not gonna say he didn't. He bowled beautifully, maybe not beautifully, but he did well enough. Do you know what I mean? He is going to be the primary spinner ahead of Holman, which is fair enough.
I'm not the massive fan of Luke Holman's leg spin, I'll be honest.
Well, Luke Holman's someone who wants to be a batsman, but the way he sees his way into the team is bowling leg spin.
Fair enough.
So
I do think his batting is superior to his bowling, so it's understandable.
His batting's far superior. It's just his only way into the team is as a spinner.
Yeah.
The question is, will we see Seb Morgan feature? If he has an incredible.
I think it's too soon.
Yeah, he's not quick enough.
Too soon for that. Too soon for first class cricket.
Yeah. Well, especially if you've got if he's going, if the last seamer, I imagine will be Tom Helm. They're not going to pick him above Tom Helm, are they? So I think I think to be honest, I like Middlesex team is a very strong Division 2 team.
Yeah. Do you remember the last time they were in Division 2? They had Shaheen Shah Afridi as their overseas, and then they go to Division 1 and the overseas gets worse. Even though Shaheen played 4 games and then disappeared, he was still
no. They had Milan that season as well, though. They had Milan that season as well. Yeah. So Shaheen wasn't there for the whole time, so they got Milan back in for the back end, so they just continued him. And then he obviously didn't do very well, which is surprising. He had a good first class record, but obviously he wasn't good enough. So yeah, I think Middlesex are looking a lot stronger. Obviously, it'll be the 2 old boys, Robson and Stoneman. Stoneman wasn't good last year. Robson had forgiven Middlesex's lack of kind of prosperity with the bat. I think he had quite a good year. Esky at 3. Roland Jones obviously will play later. I reckon they'll go Deploy for Holden 5. Holden's also someone who's in the Brits Abroad section, has gone off and got a contract somewhere. The only question is, obviously no Simpson.
He's in the UAE.
Yeah. The only question is no Simpson.
No. He's gone to Sussex. He's a skipper.
Yeah, I know. The question is who's going to keep.
Is he skipper on the Red Bull side or?
I'm not sure. He'll play all formats.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to keep Middlesex.
I'll tell you what, with Middlesex, I don't actually know what's going to happen too often.
God knows. Joe Cracknell can't play first class cricket.
I think they might give him a shot. I mean, they haven't exactly got. What other keepers are there apart from Simpson?
That's Cracknell, isn't it?
There you go.
I keep unless they're going to deploy the gloves.
Nah.
I mean, the bowling. I still think the bowling attack will do well.
All right.
Because you got Brooks, Helm, who's one of the best first change bowlers in the country, in my opinion.
Yeah, Helm's pretty good.
obviously the youngin, North Middlesex's finest. Who is it? Has
Bamba?
Correct.
Yeah, he's all right.
Good 3 paces. Have I missed anyone?
Nah,
Martin's
that's it. I think
Martin's
Middlesex should be okay next season.
They should. I think they should get promoted. To be fair,
we'll hope for the best for them and for your sake, so that you don't spend all year telling us
my membership is worth
they are.
Yeah.
For once, yeah. But anyways, that's all we've got time for today. As you might be able to tell, I haven't got my beautiful GJ sticks in the background. I've moved back from London to university on the south coast, so expect a lot more of the barren background. But that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back next week, hopefully, to cover a nice, beautiful England win in a test match. I'm lying. I'm dreaming. That's not happening. But yeah, we'll be back, angry or sad, next week, and we'll see you then. See you later, Archie.
See you, boys.